not to step on your review here, Dave, but a movie that I think you referred to in a tweet as the best video game movie that's ever been made. Free Guy. Tell me why.
It's true. Now it's not an adaptation of any existing video game IP. So to some people that is like a disqualification for the criteria, but in terms of movies based on or about video games, the culture, the phenomenon of gaming, this I think is the best because it's just really well done, quite self-aware and meta, watchable, entertaining. It really is the whole picture to me. And if you're a fan of gaming, if you know gaming culture, you know video games, like the reference points, I think make it even better. Like you can enjoy this if you don't know much about gaming, but if you do, I think that even enriches it.
Hmm.
Um, Free Guy is a holdover from Fox that Disney inherited. Was supposed to come out last summer, finally out now, exclusively in theaters, starring Ryan Reynolds. And even though it was made way back in 2019, it's based off a script from like I think 2016. It's very uh, long gestating project and ended up being directed by Sean Levy. And it's honestly really high concept. What if a non-playable character in a online video game, similar to say Grand Theft Auto Online, what if that character, who normally would be relegated to what he or she is programmed to do, and cannot deviate from that as a non-playable computer character, what if that character self-actualizes for some reason and starts being able to do what it wants? What would happen? And that's essentially what happens with Free Guy. And it's really awesome. I didn't expect there to be some like I think actually quite intriguing like real world plots that then would connect with what's going on in the game as Guy, Ryan Reynolds' character, becomes self-aware and starts doing his thing. But I think it all really comes together in an impressive way. First big movie role for Jodie Comer, who we both adore.
Yeah.
Also a big movie role for Joe Keery from Stranger Things. And they have a relationship as video game developers are trying to get back at the big maniacal developer that kind of like took over their game idea and stuff and is profiting from it. And that ego-driven developer is played by Taika Waititi in a really funny role.
Man, he's
So
getting a lot of like small roles recently.
yeah, definitely. I'm just coming off of the Suicide Squad, of course,
Mhm.
and in the game, it's Ryan Reynolds as well as Lil Rel Howery as his best friend. And it just really comes together, I think, in a really fun way. I really like the action, but it's like the kind of like the progression of like how the story goes. It almost makes sense for like a game like leveling up, getting ready to achieve things. I think it all really makes sense. And I'm not going to spoil them, but there's really awesome cameos in this, and in general, like the IP references. It's almost like you could definitely compare this to Ready Player One, and even more of like as like a cultural level in terms of how the movie works, similar to like Wreck It Ralph,
Hmm.
in the animation side. So I would absolutely recommend it. I was going in with really no expectations, but I mean, in terms of like watching the hosts become alive, this was way more compelling than say Westworld. I would
Interesting.
not that I guess that says too much if people know our feelings on Westworld, but similar themes nonetheless. Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's not too serious, right? Like, it's not the funniest Ryan Reynolds. Like, we know how good Ryan Reynolds can be with like self-deprecating, mile-a-minute humor. It's not at Deadpool level, like, but it's in that vein in terms of for Reynolds' performance. And even though it's not the funniest thing he's been in of late, it's funny enough. But the action's
Yeah.
good and the plot's good. It's quite riveting, honestly. I really liked it.
So Sean Levy directs this, and he's probably most well known for Night at the Museum
Hmm.
trilogy. I guess there's three or four, maybe there's
Yeah,
four. But
three.
he's more recently Date Night. No, not that. Actually, no, I was thinking of Game Night. So I was gonna say a much better movie, but no, Date Night is not a movie I actually think I know. So I'm looking at this filmography, and I'm like, there's not really much here I'm super impressed with. So to see him get back behind, the camera after what 7 years since his last directed movie, and to make something good, probably a bit of a, I don't know, a shocker in a sense, but uh, I really want to see this now. Like, this was a movie I was like fine missing beforehand, and now I feel like I really missed out. And I'm going to talk about the movie I chose to see instead, and
Mhm.
certainly enjoyable. But this sounds like a lot more fun than the one I was at. So,
Yeah,
little jealous of your experience this weekend, Dave.
and thankfully it actually kind of overperformed expectations at the box office, making about 28 million, which is obviously a great sign given that Free Guy is a original non-franchise IP. Reynolds has since tweeted, and Levy has confirmed that Disney now wants a sequel to this movie. So
Of
that's cool that
course.
they're doubling down again on an inherited film. But I mean, it's nice to see the success, just coming off the Suicide Squad not being that successful.